very good showing in the previous split, and you're just thinking, okay, this is a matchup that we should win. Let's win it quickly. You do make those overly risky plays, and if your opponents they're the ones paying attention to everything, they're the ones playing it as safely and properly and methodically as possible, they'll turn it around on you, and Envy did just that against Immortals in game number 1.
Drawing Nidalee bans. Lyra is the only guy going to be able to do that. And if you see a Nidalee ban, then I would definitely expect the rest of the jungle bans to come through. No surprise here. Shen has been big for both teams as far as those cross-map plays. So pretty much all top bans so far, except for that wild card of the Nidalee being thrown in. 100% respect to Lyra.
Yep. Taking the LeBlanc away from Pobelter as well. They don't want to allow him to play that and do the kinds of crazy things that we know he's capable of doing on that champion. One more ban left in the arsenal for Immortals, and it will be Taliyah, keeping Pyrion off of that. Just like you mentioned before game number 1, he's effective on it. They want to make sure that they don't get to see exactly how effective.
All right, well, continued focus here onto the Karma. Also going to stay true. Team Envy will first pick this one for Hakuo and set them up for a strong lane phase once again.
Karma, the shield potential, the damage potential in lane, the kiting potential, the champion does a lot. I mean, she has had so much presence in the professional scene for so long now. She's just one of those staple champions that it feels always somewhat good to pick her. Even first pick, you don't know what's coming at you at all, Karma can always be solid.
All right, they are going to break up the combo, though, stealing away Apollo's Varus this time around. If they really want to still have that super strong lane phase for their bottom lane, Envy still have the option of going Caitlyn or something like that. But a lot of takeaways here, and Flame maybe will be piloting the Galio again, but as always, can be flexed.
Lyra jumping back and forth between a couple of champions there, finally deciding on that Lee Sin. We talked in game number 1, Kobe. You ban it away from him, you take it away from him. Generally, you don't like to put this in Lyra's hands.
I mean, yeah, you ban away the Nidalee, but then he's going to take up the Lee Sin and show you how it's done. See if he can get off those early game plays we're used to seeing from him, or if Immortals can turn this one around. I would like to see some continued faith in the playmaking from Olay, though. Even though that Blitzcrank was definitely a flop, Thresh is so much more versatile, and that's why we see so much more Thresh than we do Blitzcrank.
I mean, Blitzcrank, there's one thing you do with Blitzcrank. You pull somebody. Thresh can hook people, you can save allies.
You can knock them up, you can silence.
You can deny.
More dynamic.
Okay, fine, you can knock up and you can silence, but there's so much more dynamic interaction and defensive and utility-based capability with Thresh as a pick. So we'll have to see what avenues open up for those guys, switching that pick out for this one. As Fizz and Syndra both banned away in the second part of the ban phase, neither side with a mid laner means both sides paying homage and respect to ban those champions out.
Yeah, Fizz has really been funneled into the mid lane now as a mid lane assassin because those nerfs to the base AD and more scaling for AP, it's threatening. And if you do start to see bans like that, then you're thinking that Immortals want to run in one of these control mages for Pobelter this time around in the mid lane. Maybe they don't want to do Ahri again, and they'd rather put him on the Orianna this time around since Syndra is already banned out.
Well, remember, they do have the last pick of the entire draft, so they can just save that mid lane for the last one if they want to, try to counter pick it instead. They will go with the safe one, the Orianna, exactly. He called it. I mean, I called the Blitzcrank. I got to celebrate. You call the Ori, you get to celebrate.
All right, you got a big brain. Good job. All right, Ahri is going to be the counter, though, yeah. So we get to see it again, and this time, Pyrion going to try his hand at the assassinations. Pobelter, died to the enemy Varus several times. We'll see if Cody's son will be able to get himself some solo kills onto Pyrion Ahri this time around.
Maybe. I told you. I think it was actually you that I was casting with when I talked about this last time. I love a series where you get to see
reverse
matchups to see who really is the better mid laner at that matchup. I mean, if you can win it on both sides, that just means that you've mastered the matchup better than your opponent has.
Especially if it's one like this, right? Where there are trade-offs for both these mid laners. If Orianna is able to farm well and does not die to the, Ignite, level 6, Ahri going for jungler-assisted ganks on the mid lane, then she'll have a very big effect on the team fights.
By the way, pretty sure that's new Rek'Sai.
New Rek'Sai is enabled, I believe.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that,
this is
7-11. We changed the patch to the 7-11, the big gulp patch, as Jack called it.
Oh man, I I got a lot of mixed feelings about the new Rek'Sai.
Yeah, so do I.
Because I've been hearing a lot of complaints, and I've only got a couple of games so far on it, but especially the ultimate and how easy it is for the ultimate to miss on its own, plus people to be able to dodge the ultimate, whether they dash or they're even just moving slightly quickly.
Yeah. Walk faster than a slowed pace.
I'm super hyped for it, though, to see if Smithy can get it rolling, because this new Rek'Sai is intended to be more damage-oriented and less control-oriented and less, tank.
No AoE knock-up tank spam bot in the late game. Instead, it's more of a fighter-type character, but exactly what you mentioned with the ultimate being able to miss so easily. I know I've seen a few different montage clips of new Rek'Sai trying to ult people as they casually walk to the left and it doesn't find its target, but maybe Smithy can turn this on and make it work, bring Immortals up to a 1-1 series.
And here's the thing, you start to see the team comp come together, and you're wondering, where is the ball delivery? Where is the Galio point, of his heroic entrance going to be? And it looks to be all on Smithy. So if this Rek'Sai can get off the ground at a decent level, then he can have the freedom to really dive in. He's going to have Orianna's shield on him, the possibility of Thresh pulling him back out if things go wrong. And then also the damage reduction from Galio's ultimate. If they're able to get to the team fighting phase, and they don't really collapse early on, as teams sometimes do against Team Envy, then you can definitely see the parts coming together here for Immortals.
At the same time, he is that lone catalyst for getting all those other tools into the enemy lines. If Smithy's not where he's supposed to be, or he gets shut down early, could be very problematic for these guys. A few blows being traded back and forth sort of all over the map at level 1 here. You saw Lyra and Smithy messing with each other earlier as some damage came into Pobelter mid lane, and now even bottom side, Apollo getting a volley into Cody and Olay. These two are just having a good old-fashioned.
Yeah, everybody's got the pings down. You want to protect your junglers, Raptors. If you have a bad Raptor start, then it really hurts your early game. Should be just fine, though. Q from Ahri, same thing from Orianna to help on the other Raptors. And both junglers have just fine as far as their Raptor pulls have gone. Deep Ward is on the red there for Immortals, so they'll be able to see Lyra as he goes to pick up his red buff. If he goes to pick up his red buff, technically. Could do a blue side clear if he really felt sneaky about it, but
it is true.
All right, he's going to go for it. Maybe that will be some top lane focus then. We see people delay the red buffs every once in a while nowadays, so that you can have a greater effectiveness for the early game. Lee Sin with red buff, if you wait until you're already, level 3 or level 4 to go collect it later, then, technically you can have more time to work with it in that early stage where he's got a lot of dueling threat, and he's very versatile as far as the mobility. So you can kind of delay that power and pick it up later when he wants it.
Seraph getting some decent trades down up there against Flame as Pyrian and Pobelter. Remember, same matchup from last time, just different player on different champion.
And if we're talking about, red buff sides, Rek'Sai has always been good at level 3 ganking. She still is, even has lower cooldowns on being able to use the tunnels more frequently, so definitely possibilities there, as Smithy has done the red quadrant clear into an invade here. We'll see that the blue is gone and believe that Lyra is on bottom side.
Lyra on bottom, grabbing his own red now as Hakuo and Apollo move in to get eyes here on the enemy blue, popping that Scryer's Bloom. We'll see the ward on it as well. They're not going to hang around to try to clear anything out. Good charm from Pyrian, but not really a whole lot else to do with that. Pobelter getting the better of him in that trade.
Yeah, push him into turret, trying to deny some CS here. Does zone him off of that one with the Q. Nice play there, and he's not going to be able to get 4 of those range minions. Just pick up the last one, though.
Every little bit helps. It's all about just zoning them away from a couple here, a couple there, and eventually that's how you build yourself a bigger, better lead. The biggest lead right now, the 23 compared to the 16 in the top side. That advantage for Seraph on that Renekton, that powerful lane bully type of champion. I mean, Galio is a lane bully in his own right. Against some people, against other people, he's more of
farm bot,
clear
exactly.
The back wave. Exactly.
Against Renekton, I'd rather just stay away from the wave.
Yeah.
Throw out a bunch of Qs.
The only thing that a bully is afraid of is a bigger bully, and Renekton is a pretty gosh darn big bully. Galio will be keeping his distance for now as Seraph just free farms to his heart's content.
Gets even bigger when it gets level 6.
That's true.
No fair.
Literally.
Doubles in
Turns
size.
into a bigger gator. Lyra moving into enemy territory now, though. Double buffs on the Lee Sin. Like you mentioned, he's going to have the red buff for an extended period of time because he delayed it. Arrives there just in time as that Raptor camp is spawning to steal away some golden experience.
And that is no coincidence.
No,
right?
that wasn't
The reason everybody fights over these Raptor wards is because it's the most common start, you know, one of the most rewarding camps to take. And having known that Smithy started on it, you can always guess that it will be around, you know, that 4.5-minute mark. So he times it there with the invade. Classic Rek'Sai.
All right, here we go. 1 versus 1. Quickly going to have the party crashed by Pyrion. Flash over the wall from Xmithy, getting himself away to safety. That's Pyrion's flash for Xmithy's flash, meaning Pobelter now knows that Summoner Spell is down on the enemy mid laner.
Yeah, it's an interesting little trade there. Smithy's actually kind of happy to trade his flash for mid lane flash. However, Pyrion is about to get level 6. And then he'll be able to rally on his ultimate for that safety. Bottom lane, just a bit of a trade. Not too scrappy.
Cody getting that piercing arrow on the end. They'll take the slightly better edge in that trade for now. Apollo shielded up as he backs away. Seraph rotating down towards mid lane. Pobelter's pretty far forward here.
Nice charm.
Charm finds its way on. Flash trying to get that stun. Pobelter getting away just ever so close. Lyra goes underneath the turret. And they'll both somehow walk away. The safeguard just in time. Envy. Whoa, that was close.
Yeah, Pyrion's able to land the charm first, getting both summoners out. You know, that's the cleanse and flash. After they see that, Seraph goes all in on this. And what a roam from the top laner. The bigger bully goes to bully your friends as well. There goes both summoners. He got the stun off as well. And Lyra goes in for execute damage. Finishes it off here. That kill. Uh-oh.
Meanwhile, bot side, 2 versus 2. Cody needs a little bit more damage onto Apollo. Won't be finding it. No summoner spells used on the side of Envy, though. The Ignite is popped by Olay. So summoner spell advantage for Envy, even though they are down in health.
Man, what a big turnaround for the mid lane. After, you know, Pyrion just used his flash offensively to try and get Smithy in the jungle, and you know, he was in a little bit of a dangerous situation, still pretty far from that level 6. The double collapse there between Seraph and Lyra, incredibly effective. And, you know, Seraph, as soon as Lyra joined the team, Seraph was the first guy to talk about how much he loved playing with Lyra, you know, the skills that this guy brings to the table. And, man, both of them there completing that dive. We'll see if a summonerless Orianna is the prime target next.
The best jungler I ever played with. The words that Seraph used for Lyra, but now Olay, the Thresh Hooks finding their target. Hakuo, the one who's going to be initiated upon. The flash into the taunt from Flame, the damage coming through, the winds of war not quite making it happen. Seraph now going to be knocked up as Immortals try to turn this one around. Seraph will likely be brought down here. No way out. No flash available from the previous fight, and Hakuo barely surviving is the bait that Envy didn't need, because they still end up losing their top laner.
Yes, well put.
It's almost like it was going to be good, but nah, not
well, the difference there is that Immortals jungler on the bottom side of the map. Lyra was top side counter jungling, so they were outnumbered. Even though teleports are answered, you know, better jungler wins. Ha, ha, ha.
Pyrion coming down, trying to get some revenge here, but nope, just deciding to throw the orb into the wave instead. Apollo can farm that whole thing with a volley. Very nice, very clean. And one thing to remember about new Rek'Sai is even though that ultimate has really long range, you can only use it if you've already damaged them in the last 5 seconds.
Let's take another look here, because we're just memeing a little bit about better jungler thing. Rek'Sai is in the river when his stall starts, so it's an easy roam for Smithy to get down there, and they're able to capitalize. Here's Hakuo getting away, as you said, super low. And it looks like, you know, if junglers were not a part of this, Team Envy would have defended very well. But Smithy slots in, able to get the easy knock up there. And Immortals capitalize with the kill and a little bit of map pressure.
Immortals 1-1. They've got a very slight gold lead, 300 or 400. Nothing really too crazy, but it's still a lead better than what they had earlier. Flame continuing to be pushed up underneath the turret, still staying even in terms of CS with his opponent though, so not really worried about playing off the back foot. Ultimate and teleport not available for him. Teleport not available for Seraph either, but ulti does appear to be ready to go. Both of these two likely telling their teams to just be very aware of those teleport timers if they decide to go for anything here on the bottom part of the map. Olay eats the arrow, more damage coming through. Sonic Wave misses, but the root is there anyway. It matters not, and Apollo will get himself onto the board. 2-1, Team EnVy.
Yeah, good restraint there. Able to give the kill over to the AD carry. Setting up Apollo once again to have a good game. Olay just a little bit deep there, no vision, and gets nailed with the crowd control. Now bottom lane overloaded with Team EnVy members.
More trades in the top side, but Flame's not taking a whole lot of damage from Seraph anymore, really.
Uh-oh, nice charm from the Fog of War. I have to say, though, the top side also right now, with no vision for Flame, it's very difficult for him because he has to keep guessing where Lyra is. He hasn't shown for a good, 30 seconds on the map. Uh-oh.
Cody firing off those chains of corruption. Trying to make the moves happen here. Flash away from Apollo. Prey Seeker doesn't connect. The flash and knock on Smithy looking to finish these guys off. The ult connects. Aquo now being chased down by the remaining members, and Immortals making a double kill.
Prey Seeker able to finish it off, and now they've got some alone time with the bottom turret. This is first turret gold as well.
But you've got to keep your eyes on Lyra and Pyrian. They're moving their way towards the bottom side, trying to stop this if they can. They will walk over wards. Turret being brought down incredibly low. It will not actually fall. Pyrian and Lyra just in time to prevent that gold from going over to IMT.
There is a ward here that sees the recall. Is Lyra...
Oh, just a little bit shallow on that one.
No shenanigans this time around. I have to say, though, again, momentum swinging back. Seraph is fine. We have to say, we're still looking for when they transition into those 5-on-5 combos. Seraph actually fairly low going for this, and Flame has him on the corner. All right, again, Smithy down bottom here with the Rek'Sai. Cody Sun turns around, nails the ultimate, and sets this one up. Because Smithy doesn't get the damage there, he's not going to be able to ult to start this tower dive off, so just flashes in for it, and ults later to secure the kill. Cody Sun gets him low enough that the second Prey Seeker actually feeds more gold over.
Meanwhile, topside, Flame is taken over. This is like Karate Kid, Kobe. The kid gets bullied at the start, and then all of a sudden he learns how to fight back. Seraph is not having fun anymore.
And it's because it's right before the teleport cooldowns come off there, so it's actually a really good time to get Seraph low. Unfortunately, no extra help being sent to Flame. So even though he forced him low, he's going to have to do it himself.
Oh, Flame not quite getting the damage he needs. Seraph with the heal, just barely keeping himself alive. You can tell how badly he wants that CS, but it's a death sentence if he goes up there.
No friends for Flame, and it's actually Lyra who visits first.
Lyra trying to grab the kill here. Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike. Seraph flashing away from the winds of war, but there comes the CC. More damage coming out, but it's not quite enough. Flame barely going to miss out on that one. Xmithie bottom side, taken low and shut down by Pyrian, who makes the rotation over the wall. And Immortals has put themselves in a spot where they're too far forward for now. The ball comes over, the orb flies out, Apollo in retreat, the volley connects, it finds its way onto multiple people. The turret goes down, Pobelter, Cody, and Olay in retreat. Seraph is alive, he's into the fight, he's looking to grab Olay, trying to get Cody. The damage comes through onto one, and Pobelter out of mana, trying to find a way to escape, but Pyrian's got his number and his money. 300 gold to EnVy's mid lane.
Oh man, what a tragedy there at the end. I think Pobelter with a little bit of a fumble as far as the mechanics go in that move down bottom. In the end, they still get the first turret gold, so the gold is pretty close. But man, I mean, it will be close after even up turrets, but all right. Two different junglers with two different focuses. Smithy has been bottom lane over and over and over. He's camping down there. So Lyra makes his way top. And Flame feels really bad for him that he did so much work up there, but Lyra writes everything. Flame comes down, or Pyrian comes down here for the roam. They kill off Smithy early on, but Cody's able to flash out and get the shield. Now, I want to take a look again at this Pobelter play because he has the ball on him, flashes into the wall, then dissonance himself and still gets charmed. Yeah, definitely not the plan that was in his head. A couple questions pretty sure there. But then it didn't matter because Seraph's able to teleport in, and Pyrian means he's be able to clean up the river kill here onto Pobelter. So things went pretty poorly there in the outcome. In the end, Immortals, though, still fairly close in gold until EnVy are able to even up that turret score.
Right, the turret standing gold is something that once you build an advantage through other means, you can equalize very rapidly. First Drake is still alive 14 minutes into the game. He is a Mountain Drake, so pretty high value on that. Teams likely will be turning their attention there very soon with turret first blood off the board. You can see Xmithie and Olay working on that Scuttle Crab.
And I am a really big fan, again, of the couple Doran's Rings into a Banshee's Veil. Pyrion doing it again. It's such a safe build right now, and it's actually quite efficient as well. So adds a little bit more threat to the Ahri, getting that spell shield in pretty quickly. Meanwhile, he's actually been delegated to the mid lane. They're going for the 1-3-1. AD carry and support shifted up to the mid lane, try and push that in and gain them a little bit of pressure around this Mountain Drake. And if they can shove in that mid lane and give the wave advantage, oh, actually, maybe a pick.
Charm of the wall, low HP on Olay, who's likely going to be brought down, but instead they turn it around, grab the kill onto Hakuo. Xmithie chasing down Lyra now. He does have his AD carry right next to him, Apollo there, but are these two in a spot that they can get away from this? Xmithie takes a little bit of damage while they kite back.
Whew, it's hard to keep track, man.
There's so much action.
EnVy went for the pick while also going for the mid lane push. So they're going for a little bit too many things at the same time. If your Ashe is mid lane and you're going for this pick and they don't have the Ashe arrow at the beginning of it, so it gets all turned around because Immortals are clumped up in their jungle. So even though the wave was in control of Team EnVy, Immortals get the kill, and now they've got control of the Mountain Drake.
EnVy still looking like they may want to be contesting this. Here you go, Pyrion jumping in. Galio ulti comes in to protect Pobelter. Lyra wants to maybe go for a steal here, instead does not. Xmithie securing that one. Orb flies out again. Mountain Drake over to Immortals. Meanwhile, Seraph beating down the top lane turret takes that one. Objective for objective.
All right, still some to go here though, because mid lane, they're back at the pushing game. Ashe and Karma trying to get the wave into the turret. Meanwhile, Seraph, all by his lonesome up there. As you said, he had no teleport to join, so just did his work on that top turret.
Seraph slashing and dashing and slicing and dicing his way all over that chicken camp, only to have the big chicken smited away by Xmithie anyway. Problem with trying to counter jungle when you're not the jungler. Sometimes you can just show up and say thanks for the leash and walk away. Cinderhulk and Tiamat completed on Xmithie means even though Rek'Sai's intended purpose has changed, the build stays the same as it ever was. Cinderhulk, Titanic Hydra, the Rek'Sai staple.
Yeah, she does scale really well with attack damage now, so he can build maybe a Black Cleaver has been one of the options. Upgrading his Tiamat early on into a Titanic is also a little bit of both worlds there. Get some more health, get the extra damage scaling as well, and it's probably going to be the route that he goes since he's got that Cinderhulk that synergizes quite well with the Titanic. But again, it's going to be about, can Immortals get to that mid game where they get to bring together all their little pieces of this team fight? Rek'Sai goes in with the Shockwave. Flame's going to ult on top of them, and they're supposed to land that crowd control either before to set it up or afterwards if Xmithie's down to use his flash.
And you brought it up earlier, Kobe. Xmithie is the one who has to allow these pieces to come together, and he's having a great game for himself so far. 4 kills, now looking to make it 5. Seraph with the flash into the slice and the dice. Olay's hook will not find him, and he gets away.
And as Immortals continue to look for the 5-on-5 so they can use all of their little pieces, Team EnVy are still looking for picks, but they have a lot of pick potential. Lee Sin, Ashe, and Ahri, very good at assassinating someone if an Immortals member is straggling, while the rest of them go look for a team play. Currently, though, Rift Herald might be the one to group everybody up. Ahri is in the bottom lane, so Pyrion, no way he's joining. They're making the call to trade.
Yeah, and you know Seraph doesn't want to fight this either. He has no ultimate. Likely just a free objective for Immortals, making the call to grab this one.
They're doubling down on the pushing power, too. They sent Lyra bottom lane as well. So they're going to push mid and bottom against a Rift Herald team. And we may see a race here. Rift Herald empowered push for Immortals versus 2 lanes were pushed for Team EnVy. And who's going to get the better of it? That turret is toast with the charge.
Racing against Rift Herald is pretty hard to do, Kobe.
But they had such a big lead. You know, they were racing 30 seconds in advance because it takes time to kill the Rift Herald. So it might even end up going in their favor And it looks like it will. 2 turrets were taken.
Damage coming through. Cody's son forced to flash himself back. Hakuo keeps that tether attached until it pops. Rift Herald's going to be brought down here before she can do much of anything else.
I like that call from Team EnVy. You know, they're more pick-oriented in their composition. They also, because they were pushing earlier, got to take 2 turrets themselves, whereas Immortals, even with the Rift Herald, only got the 1, and EnVy's still able to get back and defend. So good split there, and they come out ahead as far as gold on top of it.
And what was Seraph talking about? What we saw before the game. He wants this team to work as a 5-man unit. He wants to see the team play from Team EnVy and being able to make those team-wide calls and know what to trade, say, hey, we're not fighting for this, we're doing this instead. That's what he's talking about.
As long as you take advantage of the opportunity cost of killing the Rift Herald, like it actually takes a long time to kill the Rift Herald. As long as you take advantage of that time, and you're hitting a turret, then they are actually able to get the lead and the greater value for themselves. Lyra, though, whoa, that's one big playmaking tool down.
Yeah, that's a free flash going the way of Immortals, thanks to Olay being ready with that death sentence. Lyra not having that now means he's way less threatening. No insect potential when you can't get the flash with the kick. He's going to have to find some creative ward hop pathing instead to get himself behind a value target like Cody or like Pobelter. The A-rank game continues, though.
Yeah,
I mean, we're seeing a lot of this.
It comes down to which AD carrier is going to hit their skill shot, do you think, for the long-range engage? Cody's son or Apollo?
Apollo had a lot of good chains last game. I feel like that's one of the skill shots that you see missed the most in League of Legends. And Apollo was just like, I don't know why everybody misses this thing. Hit, 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 over and over again. Constantly putting those where they needed to be.
Definitely true. Team EnVy would rather have it be a little bit more spread out of a game and, you know, try and take advantage of their extra pick potential, their extra mobility. Meanwhile, Seraph does get knocked up.
Getting into a little bit of a scuffle here with Smithy, who getting closer and closer to that Titanic Hydra. As you can see, Seraph going for the Blade of the Ruined King second. Very damage heavy, very duel heavy on this Renekton.
Uh-oh.
Smithy going to be stopped from taking the Lantern for now. The ward block technique
foiled.
showcased again, and he's not going to be getting out of that today. Olay now eating some damage from Furion as Seraph and Lyra get into position to steal away that blue buff.
Smithy unable to get the click there onto the Lantern. Cheeky little ward there to make it even more difficult, but that is another good pickoff. As we said, EnVy that's exactly what they want. They don't want the 5v5. They don't want the Galio charging in. So they forced it a little bit there while Flame is super far top lane. And if he was going to join at that point, it would have been the teleport. Way less threatening than the ultimate coming through. So good pick for EnVy, but Team Immortals not having to give away an objective after the back of it. See about this Infernal.
Infernal, the other one of the big value drakes. We had Mountain, now we've got Infernal. Definitely an objective that you don't want to give away for free. It is a 3,000 gold difference between them. Wow, he interrupts the blast cone, and now Seraph might have been in a little danger, but he had some good slices and dices to get himself away from that.
That's a good health lead on the front line, though. Definitely a lot of value there, taking Renekton's...
But he does have TP, and he can get back to base. Apollo's got to be very
he's
careful about
ulting.
Smithy, though.
Easy dodge.
Trying to get away from it. Smithy can't quite get the follow-up he needs there. Apollo stepping back, keeping himself safe. As the fight starts off in earnest, the stuns and the chain damage onto Pobelter, who does go down. Furion makes sure of that as more damage comes out. Olay's the second to fall. EnVy now retreating, regrouping, making sure they don't go too deep on this. Cody jumped onto by Lyra, chasing him down. The heal has to be popped. Furion with the flash into the charm, and his fate is sealed. 3 kills for EnVy, no death so far. Smithy trying to go onto Apollo, but now he's put himself too far forward. 1 Rek'Sai is not going to do a lot against 5 EnVy members, and that is a big team fight.
And that is why so many people have problems with the Rek'Sai rework. It's very easy to dodge. Apollo just walks back the other way. Smithy ends up whipping, and everything's out the window at that point. EnVy scramble really easily, have the kill advantage, taking down the Baron right afterwards.
Last game, Kobe, they got it at 22 minutes. This game, they're going to get it a little bit later, just shy of 24, but this is a Team EnVy that is looking way good in the mid-game compared to what we saw in Spring Split.
Yeah, let's take another look at this. So, okay, this is already after the dodge from Apollo there. Teleport comes in. Lyra goes in for the kick. but it was interrupted there. Pobelter, though, not able to get out of the way as the kill comes through. And at that point, this is a 3 versus 5 re-engage from Immortals as Cody-san just walks up. And Lyra's happy to take that one. Pyrian flashes over, securing the advantage. And Rek'Sai so easily kited here. Smithy went back in to try and finish it. Whoa!
Meanwhile, bottom, Seraph going after Pobelter. Hakuo here as well to try to help him. They almost get that kill, but scaring him away will be good enough to easily secure this Infernal Drake and this Tier 1 turret for the side of Envy, who will now find themselves enjoying the luxury of another 6,000 gold lead, and they are looking like strong contenders to 2-0 Immortals right now. This is really unexpected. This Team Envy is looking very clean today.
Yeah, and I mean, you can kind of put together the pieces, right? Spring, so much was going right for Team Envy in the early game. They did have a problem, especially with Ninja, you know, giving back a lot of mid-game power, you know, not being able to have, you know, wards up in time for objectives or people in place in time for objectives. The objectives have come very easily for them in this game. You talked about the early Barons. Right after taking very big teamfight victories, they've been pretty clear Baron calls, right?
That's true.
I mean, you kill 4 people, 22 minutes.
There's not a question of what you're
exactly,
doing, right?
Like, tricky puzzle to figure out.
I don't know. Should we back? Should we farm the Wolves now? Let's go get Baron.
Yeah. And they have done a very good job of getting these early leads. This is a 7,000 gold lead. Baroned up Envy, pressing in on secondary turrets just into 26 minutes on this game.
Pyrian clearing out some wards in the enemy jungle. Envy wants to make sure that Immortals is afraid to go into their own jungle, afraid to be cut off mid-rotation, so that it's that much more difficult for them to protect these tier 2 turrets. Baron's still up for another minute or so. Knock up from Smithy, trying to go in on these guys. Finds it onto Lyra and not Pyrian. Remember, Rek'Sai can only knock up 1 target.
And the hook there was just barely out of range. Olay goes for the hook on the knocked up target, but not in range to hit Pyrian. So he lives. No counter kill here for Immortals, and the siege continues.
The volley from the Ashe in mid lane as well, popping that Banshee's Veil on Pobelter, so giving playmaking potential against that mid laner if they see the opportunity to land the pick CC. 7,000 gold lead continues to build up. Seraph continuing to push bottom side. He's made his way all the way up to the base itself. Inhibitor turret taking some damage down there. As more wards are cleared out, more skill shots find their way into Immortals' health bars, and Envy continues keeping the pressure on for at least the next 20 seconds as they finish off the last of this Baron buff.
Seraph trying to keep his pressure up in the bottom side as the 1-3-1 continues to take its toll. Defense from Immortals, though, they're holding on just barely.
They're not doing too bad. They're not doing too bad. They could be doing a lot worse.
Yeah.
Still keeping those tier 2s online means they're not completely stuck on their back foot yet, but they've still got a lot of work to do to come back from what's an almost 8,000 gold deficit. Guardian Angel also now up and running on Lyra, so it's going to be that much harder to do anything to this guy who, by the way, there's still no deaths on Lyra or Pyrian this game. The two of them have been having just a phenomenal showing, 4-0-5, 4-0-3, getting work done and not giving anything back to their opponents.
And again, you know, Lyra's this guy we've come to expect it from, but Pyrian had to pay his dues on the bench for a long time, almost an entire year there. And he was just grinding away at solo queue, you know, working on himself, practicing up, until he got his time to shine here on Envy. And it's really worked out for the better. And this change early on in the season, and then you remember they already were able to take down Phoenix 1 in week 1, so looking to add another win very early into the year here for themselves and get above 500 would be a beneficial start here for the squad. Morale definitely high for them as well.
Oh, absolutely. You go from being a team who's sitting at the bottom of the standings. That's never good for morale because you're just trying to get towards that middle of the pack, prove that you're competitive with the rest of everyone else. Well, now you're going up against upper part of the pack teams and you're beating them. That's very impressive from this team. They just need to make sure that they can continue to play like this and close this game out. It's not over until the Nexus falls. You can't underestimate your opponents either. Immortals, while down, are not out quite yet. Pyrion, Lyra, and Hakuo trying to see if they can get some kind of a flank here, but it's Lyra who goes a little bit too far forward, maybe. Never mind, he is unstoppable. Grab the kill onto Cody Sun. Smithy goes down as well as they're looking to make it even more. Seraph will now be on top of Olay as Pyrion has to retreat, zoned away by the ball. Pobelter can't do a whole lot else here, and Envy find 2 for 0.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to fight a 9,000 gold lead almost here as Envy move in and they're looking to clean up. Inhibitor turrets will be the main objective. If they can just break this base open, might be able to end it shortly after. I mean, if they take this one, single recall would be a lot of value.
A little bit more damage onto that turret will finish it. Flame and the rest of the Immortals will hold the line for now, but how much longer is the question, Kobe? Pyrion's knocking on the top side. Got that turret down to about a quarter as well. Everything is starting to get low as now Pyrion's forced to flash.
Oh,
still
get
gonna
low!
find it. Pyrion trying to walk out. Can he do it? It gets away. The shield from Hakuo.
Ooh, able to keep that death column 0. Spotless there for Pyrion. And as you said, I mean, this gold lead, now it's over 10,000 gold, which is just going to come back to bite you even harder. And the next return that we'll have will also be around Baron, right? 25 seconds. Envy have a very, very clear option here to reset up the vision, couple control wards. They still have space. You can see 3 spaces in inventory with the triple stack there for Hakuo means they can just get right back on that Baron.
Absolutely.
And bait Immortals over.
Baron coming up in 5 seconds. They've already got all the wards in their inventory. That's the prime situation to get in there, force this issue, say, hey, Immortals, come get it. We'll have to see if Immortals are willing to answer that call or if they just turtle up and hope for Envy to commit some kind of a mistake, some sort of over-aggression. Because right now, it's very hard to find any sort of an opportunity. Apollo popping the Blade of the Ruined King immediately to get away from this king.
Yeah, Apollo not scared at all. He's got both summoners. Able to just get
QSS
out of
as
it.
well?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, double QSS is coming in. Actually, I didn't even notice. Lyra has one himself on top of his Guardian Angel. So
It's going to be real hard to kill that guy.
He's looking to rack up kills of his own here. Here they come. Ash Arrow is at the ready.
Got to be aware of those Banshees fails, though.
Turret extremely low as well. Pings come back to Baron for the bait. They push up the waves, retreat back to Baron for the bait. Then they can look for the Ash Arrow through these jungle corridors, make it much easier to hit. It's all according to plan here. Good setup from Envy.
Who's going to walk too close? Oh, the charm won't find its mark. Very, very close. Could have spelled disaster for Immortals there as Flame eating some damage from Seraph, but gets himself back plenty of time. He does have that Gargoyle Stone Plate now, so if he can find himself a way to jump into the middle of multiple Envy players, he can be incredibly tanky.
That is true. Team Envy still have the vision advantage and still just return to the split push. Pobelter, nobody's in place to defend topside. Smithy's trying to roam up there. Pyrion gets the wave all the way to the turret, and then they return to the Baron baits.
That sends on to Lyra, who will instantly QSS it. Doesn't want to risk being initiated on right there as the rest of the team has found their way to Baron Nashor. This is the call. Immortals has to answer here or just yield it, no contest. Olay's back will be stopped by Pyrion. Baron continues to be burnt down, a little bit more damage. The smite comes in. Immortals, now their support is so very low. The stun, the damage, the knockup. Pyrion is shut down, but they trade him away for Olay. A killing spree for Seraph. As he stays in the middle of this fight, a shockwave only onto him. Lyra looking to make the moves into that back line as Immortals have to find some way to deal with this one. Pobelter falls. Cody Sun, the last Immortal standing. But even Immortals can die today. Cody Sun will not be walking away from this one, or will he? Hakuo tanking that turret, a little bit more damage, and Apollo gets him with the auto attack, the ace for Envy, and they will end this game and 2-0 Immortals.
Yeah, death timers are way too long. Team Envy going to improve to 2-1 here in week 2 of the NALCS.
Let me remind you, Kobe, the fan vote was 90-10 in game number 1 of this series, and Envy proves that 90% wrong and has an awesome showing for themselves to start week 2 off.
Lyra on Lee Sin, 6-0-10.
What do you expect? You give the man his champion. Remember that when Envy placed 10th in Spring Split, Lyra was still first team all NALCS as a jungler. on a 10th place team. That is incredible. This guy is a jungling maniac, and you saw it showcased right there.
Yeah, we also saw some of the flaws in Rek'Sai showcased a little bit. You know, is more DPS oriented, but the ultimate there, good dodges from Apollo. Never really got to have an impactful one. And they never actually got to utilize all those pieces we were looking for. You know, the theory crafting of Rek'Sai in with the Orianna ball, into a Shockwave, into Galio, never did come together, because the Envy early game is step number one. If you're playing this team, that's the first thing that you're going to have to deal with to even get yourself towards that mid game where you get to pull off your comp.
And when you look at what happened with the Immortals side of things, they finished with 5 kills. 4 of those kills were on Smithy. He was 4-1 at the start of the mid game. He finishes the game 4-5, just showing how that Rek'Sai pick wasn't able to translate the lead that he had into something else. Very unfortunate for them. They still, of course, will have one more game to play this week. Both teams will. So we'll have to see if they can bounce back. But Envy has got to be feeling good with the momentum that they got from a win here. They look like such a better team, so coherent, just like we heard the conversation from Seraph talking about, I want to play as a 5-man unit. That's what they did.
Yep, able to get multiple early Barons for themselves to shore up the 10 to 20 worry period.
Yeah, there was so many times in Spring Split, you watch an Envy game, and it's like, oh man, Envy's doing so good. It's 15 minutes, they're on top of it. It's 20 minutes, they're great. Oh, it's 22 minutes, they gave a Baron away to the enemy team. What happened? But now they're giving the Barons to themselves, and they're just finishing these games, and they look good doing it.
Yeah, they get their early lead, push 2 lanes, vision on Baron, and it's definitely a lot of good marked improvement for them. We'll see if they can continue it further into the split, though.
And you got to give credit, not just, I mean, we talk a lot about Lyra, and he is an insane jungler, but the rest of the guys on the team, talking about the bottom lane as well.
Sure.
We saw crazy plays from Apollo. We saw some great moves from Hakuo. All of them together, working together to make this happen. For a first-hand account on that series, though, we're going to hear from Riv and